Knottingley, West Yorkshire, home to a history of boat building, glass production, including the first bottle making machine, and a close proximity to Ferrybridge Power Station that famously once had the largest cooling towers in Europe. Knottingley was also home to Kellingley Coal Mine, Big K, the last deep coal mining pit in the UK that employed 2,000 at any one time. The mine was closed in December 2015, 1 week before Christmas. The decision was made by Matt Hancock, yeah him, the PPE contract hiding lockdown mouthpiece, who was caught on camera kissing his mistress before losing the whip to go into the jungle and face bush tucker trials to feebly attempt to boost his standing. Now he appears to be in political obscurity. His reason for closing the pit back then and destroying a whole community? Well, the pit didn't represent value for money. Here are two photos. The first one is a fairly drab-looking gable end of High Street fisheries in Knottingley that had been earmarked to receive a colourful makeover to underpin the town's identity and spirit. Here's the second photo. It's a mock-up design that was planned to celebrate Knottingley's links to the aforementioned Ferrybridge power plant. Here's a picture of concerned citizens in London, grossly upset and worried that a British citizen is being deprived of his human rights, locked away in solitary confinement in a category A prison, apparently for his own safety. Well, excuse me, but shouldn't the safety of all prisoners be the responsibility of the prison and justice system, and not to the detriment of those incarcerated? Both cases have a common denominator. A politician, or even multiple politicians in their wisdom, have depicted both as far right. One wrongly assuming voltage symbols represent Nazi SS regalia, even though it is supposed to be about a power establishment. The other, well, we all know about that, don't we? It's ridiculous. I had numerous conversations with some fantastic people during my recent visit to London to film the Stop the Isolation of Stephen Yaxley Lennon protest. What was clear was that a fair proportion of attendees were from working class, traditionally Labour voting red wall areas. This inspired me to run a poll on this channel to suggest a couple of names of people voters think resonate and identify most with the British working class. At the time of putting this video together, the poll has received over 700 votes. Obviously my channel isn't the biggest, but with a resounding excess of over 2/3 of the vote, Tommy Robinson is clearly winning. You can still vote if you want, if you think different. Interestingly, Lee Anderson is polling in second place. A few people have mentioned Ben Habib and of course Rupert Lowe. No one, however, has mentioned Nigel Farage to date, despite the recent explosion in Reform's popularity. Prime Minister Starmer has so far only polled 1% of the vote. A Labour Prime Minister. I think that mainstream politics has become so blurred that there is little obvious difference between the so-called Big Two. Arguably, Reform is filling a void for the disenfranchised Middle Britons and Tory vote. However, 15% of the electorate termed Left Behind Patriots in a recent survey, although most likely to vote Reform, are arguably also very keen to laud Tommy Robinson as the new hero of the working class. We know Tommy is not affiliated with a political party, so maybe this is irrelevant, but are Reform missing a trick by not having him on board in some capacity, after his unjust jail term ends of course? I do find it interesting that the media and current government are quick to denounce concerned citizens as far right. It is a preposterous idea, but what's behind it? Is Tommy Robinson as much of a threat to their monopoly as Reform itself? Does Tommy Robinson pose a threat to the deals made in Davos and the big plan? It is so easy to mislabel or disparage opinion. Thank goodness for citizen media and a limited amount of news outlets brave enough to speak out. Next month is the 40th anniversary of the end of the miners' strike that occurred between 1984 and 1985. Here's what the former site at Kellingley looks like now, still not fully leased out even after 10 years. The promised jobs to save the community never really materialised. Crime is rife in Knottingley. As the sign on the thumbnail says, they came for the miners, now the farmers, and next you. One former miner at the pit spoke out about the strike. He said it created solidarity, care, community, mutual recognition and comradeship. Some of you will remember the horror of Orgreave. Is this government capable of repeating such a monstrous act of violence against its own people? Is it time to really unite the kingdom once and for all and stop the divide and conquer?
Hi! Right, subscribe, like and share.
That's it, nice one. Thank you.
It's down there.
Yeah, somewhere down here.
Yeah, nice one. Thanks so much.
Early morning on Tesco's, I might nick down Tesco's and get a couple of beers.